Well, what's up guys, this is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I'm out in the high tunnel today, and spring, it just feels like spring in here, and that means it's time to get some seeds started. But I know not everyone has a greenhouse like this, and some seeds, even for me, just can't be started in here in the very cold months of the year. So it's really nice in here right now, but we are in February and there's a lot of cold nights ahead of us still. But I do need to get some seeds started, like peppers and tomatoes and things, so we're prepared for spring. So I'm gonna go in the shop today and show you guys how I start some of those real tender, warm season crops way before my last frost date. But before we get too far into this, today's video is sponsored by Exmark Mowers, the makers of professional mowing equipment. I know it's not mowing season, but it'll be here before you know it. So huge thank you to Exmark Mowers for sponsoring today's video. So we all know that 2020 was a wild and crazy year, and 2021 is probably not going to be a whole lot better. But one thing that I did learn for sure in 2020 was that it opened up a lot of people's eyes to growing their own food and the importance of food security. And part of that is people learning how to start their own crops from seed, because any of us can just go down to your local plant store or nursery and buy plant starts. You're going to get a 6-pack of tomatoes or peppers or whatever it is. It's going to cost you anywhere from $3 to $6, maybe $7. So you're looking at up to $1 a piece, $1 per plant, and that adds up quickly. And if you do it from seed, you can get a whole packet of seeds for 99 cents if you shop like me on MI Gardener, or even any box store is going to get you a pack of seeds for a couple bucks. So I'm going to show you several different ways that you can start seeds in your house, in your basement, in your shop, in your garage, whatever. And I don't want to get too wild and technical because I know, like I said, not everyone has a greenhouse. So I just went on Amazon and got this little kit that's basically a mini dome greenhouse with a heat pad. We'll get that all set up, show you what I do there. There's also a lot of other things you can do. You don't have to buy things. So I started a lot of seeds in these little fruit clamshells. This one was from like some raspberries. It's kind of shallow, but like the strawberry containers that are about 4 inches deep work perfect. So we'll plant some seeds in there. But the main thing is you want to get these seeds started 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. So just go online, look up your garden zone that you're in, figure up your estimated last frost date, and back up about 6 to 8 weeks and get these things started. Like I said, you don't have to have a greenhouse. You can have a south-facing window, a lot of different things. You just need a warm spot to get some seeds started. So let's get some potting mix mixed up, get some water on it, and throw some seeds in some soil. So we're gonna start out with a real light, fluffy seed starting mix. If you want to start with just like regular soil, it's probably not gonna work the best. You need to find a seed starting mix, something that's real light and fluffy and won't clump together too much. You don't want it to have big chunks of bark and things in it. A lot of regular potting mix are gonna have large chunks, but I'm gonna wet it down real good to start, because if we don't pre-moisten the soil, this stuff it'll never absorb enough moisture for you. This stuff, it's so dried out when you buy it that the water almost just run right through it. So we're going to pre-moisten this soil before we put it in soil blocks or any kind of container or whatever we're going to start our seeds in. So now that we've got our soil nice and moist, we're going to get everything set up to actually we have to put our soil into something, obviously. So as I said earlier, I bought this little kit on Amazon. There are several different options out there. Don't worry about being super technical. Just get you something that's got a good seed tray and this little plastic dome. So you can see it's got a little greenhouse dome. It's very important because it holds that moisture in. Then the next thing is, since we're starting these seeds out early, this comes with a heat pad. And let me open it up and show you everything real quick. So this is your little electric heat mat. Our seed tray sits on top of this and we plug it into the wall outlet. This is gonna keep your soil nice and warm because those seeds need heat to germinate. And we're trying to trick these seeds into thinking it's spring and our soil is, warm and it's time for them to pop out and do their thing. So This little heat mat is very important, but we're gonna set that to the side for just a second. And then we've got just a small, shallow seed tray, these little plug trays. I mean, this is really kind of disposable. This is a one-time use thing. I've got some that I got from Haas Tools that are probably gonna last for 20 years. They're very thick and durable, but they're not best for seed starting indoors. So this thing will drain water. If you can see, it's got holes in the bottom. So it came with it comes with a solid bottom tray. So that'll sit in there just like this. Then once we get our soil and our seeds in, we'll put our little greenhouse dome on top. So we're just gonna fill our little soil blocks up, press some soil down in there. You can just kind of set a whole handful on here and just work it down into those little cups. Now we're not wanting to force too much soil down in there. We don't want to compress it. We want a light and fluffy mix. So just keep in mind, we don't want to compress them down in there too much. Okay, we got all of our soil in our little soil blocks here, in our little cups. Now we're not gonna put peppers in here right now. We'll get the peppers in just a minute, but we're gonna start off with some tomatoes. I've got some Roma tomatoes, some Ace 55, and a packet of beefsteak. Tomato seeds are very easy to start. It doesn't take a lot of work. As long as you keep them moist and warm, they're gonna start. So tomato seeds are very small, and we're just gonna we're gonna go ahead and put 2 seeds per block. That way we can ensure we get good germination. We can always come back and thin them later on. I'm just gonna slightly cover those up just a little bit. Not really poking them down in there very far. They're very small seeds, so you don't really want to bury them very far. You just want to ensure they have good seed to soil contact. There we go. So we got 6, 12, 24, 36 little tomato plants started. And before we're not gonna water these in with a big water or anything. At most, you'll come in here with a squirt gun and moisten the top of the soil. So now that we have all of our little tomato seeds in place, we've got them labeled, I'm gonna go ahead and put my clear dome over the top of this and just set it to the side. We're not gonna put it on the heat mat just yet. We're gonna move on to some other stuff. So things like peppers and eggplant can be a little bit harder to germinate. A lot of you see me starting seeds in this soil block maker. So this thing makes 4 little soil blocks that's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches square. I do a lot of seed starting in the greenhouse for the garden with this soil block maker, and it works great. Let me demonstrate real quick. Just press it down into this moist soil, and then you press it out onto a tray, and you end up with these little soil block cubes, and you can set a seed in top of that and start seeds that way. But like I was saying, for crops like eggplant and peppers, tomatoes, that's not what I found works best. So tomatoes, pretty simple to germinate. You just want to keep them warm, keep them moist. Eggplant and peppers can be a little more difficult. So just getting them germinated, getting the seeds sprouted can be the hardest part with peppers and eggplant. So what I'll do a lot of times is take a Ziploc baggie and a paper towel. And you just moisten the paper towel, just get it wet. So we're just gonna get that paper towel wet, and then we'll take our pepper seeds. These are a Purple Beauty bell pepper. And we're just gonna put a few on here just to demonstrate. This is just one way you can start pepper seeds if you have a hard time getting them to germinate. We're just gonna drop a few seeds randomly on this paper towel. And we're gonna fold it over like this. So you got paper towel on top and bottom of those tiny little pepper seeds that can be very frustrating to germinate. And we're gonna slide it in this Ziploc baggie. Should have cleaned my table off in between processes here, but we didn't. Guess that's what a paper towel will do for you, huh? So, now we'll zip it up, get all the air out. we'll label it. Then all you're gonna do is take this little envelope basically and set it in a warm, dark place. Now you can set this on top of your freezer, next to your wood stove. Obviously don't get it too close to your wood stove. Next to your heater, somewhere in your house that stays nice and warm all the time. And just to, you know, let it sit there for about a week. And you'll come back and you'll notice that those pepper seeds will have sprouted. You can actually see the seeds through the paper towel when it's moist. And then you can just transfer those seeds. Once they've sprouted, then you can transfer those seeds into your extra openings here in a little container like that, or soil blocks, whatever you've got, something that you can put those seeds into. And there's so many different options out there when it comes to starting seeds and what you can start them in. I've seen people take paper towel rolls, cut them to where they're about that tall, and stuff soil down in them, put them in a tray. I've seen people use ice trays. I've seen people use egg cartons. I've seen people use like half eggshells. You can use just about anything that'll hold soil as a small container to start those seeds in. So another thing that I showed you I was gonna start some seeds in were these little clamshell fruit containers. So let me get one of those set up and show you what I do with those. So I really enjoy starting seeds in these little fruit containers. The little clamshells work great because they already have holes in the bottom. It's like a miniature greenhouse. And typically I'll use, like I said earlier, the strawberry containers that are a little bit deeper. But it's so simple. I mean, you literally just pack some soil in there. We're not gonna put very much soil in because these are obviously pretty shallow and we won't have a lot of room for our plants to grow, but this is a perfect place to germinate those little small pepper seeds. So this one's actually divided. It's got a divider down the middle, so we can start 2 different varieties in here pretty easily. So we'll do some of these purple bells. I'm only probably gonna put about, let's say 5 or 6 seeds in here, because like I said, peppers can be tough to germinate. We just wanna get them started here, and then we can transfer them to a bigger container once they get sprouted. So we're just gonna cover those up like that. And we're not really burying them, we're just barely covering these seeds up. And this is an M.I. Gardner seed, California Wonder Bell. Can't go wrong with California Wonder Bell peppers. That's all there is to it. Cover those seeds up. Then we'll just close the lid and you've got a perfect small little mini greenhouse that's gonna go on our heat mat. So let me get all these seeds put up, get our heat mat plugged in, and then we'll get our seeds on our way to germination. So I've got everything placed on the heat mats. I got my little dome covering my soil tray there, my little fruit block, my Ziploc baggie with the seeds in it. What I may do with those pepper seeds into there is just lay this little fruit tray on top of that. That way it's a little better insulated. So as you can see, you can start a ton of seeds on just one little table in your shop, in your basement, spare bedroom, whatever you got. Just use what space is available. I could start enough seeds on this one table to feed several families, to grow, I don't know how many gardens. I mean, just that one tray alone would grow literally hundreds of pounds of tomatoes. So I'm not gonna put a light over these right now. We're just trying to get these seeds germinated. So they'll sit out here in my dark shop for the next week or so. Once they get germinated and you start to see leaves form, then I'm gonna wanna come in here and put a light over the top. You can get grow lights on Amazon. You can go to just any box store and get like the 4-foot fluorescent lights that'll plug straight into an outlet. And then you're gonna put that light directly over the top of it so these things don't get leggy. They're gonna need that light to grow. Once they get sprouted and you start to see leaves form, that's when we're gonna add light, that's when we're gonna add fertilizer and get them well on their way. Now this isn't the only way to start seeds on your own, but this is a couple good different options that just about anyone can do. And like I said, I know not everyone has a big greenhouse or a high tunnel or is a professional gardener, but I do really believe, and I've preached this for many years, I think it's important for all of us to know a little bit about where our food comes from and to produce a little bit of our own food. Because I can promise you, if you go through the work 6 to 8 weeks before the crops ever even go in the ground, all the way through planting, tending to the crops, harvest, preservation, all of that, I can promise you this, you will be a lot less likely to waste food on your dinner table. So I think it's important for all of us. And I do know this, 2020 was a wild and crazy year, but it also got so many more people out growing gardens that had never done it before. And I can tell you right now, 2021 is not going to be any different. And I've talked to several seed companies, and they're just getting swamped with seed orders already. So there's a lot of crazy wild things that have come out of the world in the last year or so, but I do think there's a lot of good, and there's a lot more good that will come from it. And a lot of people are learning new skills and new things that they've never done before. And that's just incredible and awesome. So guys, huge thank you to Exmark Mowers for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in content like this and things like anything to do with backyard, farming, home ownership, small properties, all kinds of different stuff, visit exmark.com/backyard. There's a ton of other creators, including one of my favorites, Mike from Outdoors with the Morgans. But anyways, check us out over there. Thank you to Exmark for sponsoring today's video. So guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day. Hey, go start you some garden seeds. Garden season's just around the corner. So y'all have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.